So in this video, we're going to cover the best credit cards for a single card setup. We always talk about maximizing our point earnings through building duos and trifecta setups, but what if you didn't want to go through all the hassle of juggling multiple credit cards for your everyday spending? And there's a lot to be said about scaling things back and bringing your strategy back down to the basics. The biggest reason, in my opinion, to have a one card setup is that it is so simple. For example, the AAA Daily Advantage card is a monster grocery card that earns 5% cashback on grocery store purchases and 3% cashback on wholesale club and gas and EV charging purchases on the first $10,000 spent in a calendar year, and then 1% thereafter. So this can be a great card for grocery spend and even wholesale clubs. And I've also heard that this card works at Walmart for grocery purchases too. Another example would be the Chase Freedom Flex card, where you can earn quarterly 5% rotating categories, which is great, but this makes it necessary to change your strategy at least once per quarter, which isn't too bad, but still is extra work. In any case, even though some of us are okay with maximizing individual categories, there are others who aren't as excited to juggle all these different cards and just prefer a simpler setup overall. In fact, they may be onto something because, as we all know, the single most effective way to earn points and cash back is not through spending multipliers, but through welcome offers that usually bring us values of up to 10% return on spend or more. So it may actually be beneficial to have a smaller core credit card setup to maximize multipliers while we're using our welcome offer cards for our primary spending while we're trying to meet that minimum spend requirement. I also want to point out that simplicity will almost always win in the end. So if you're feeling the overwhelm from a 15 card primary setup, or even just burnout from statement credits, simplicity is the way forward. And when we think of one card setups, the main ones that come to mind are the 2x and 2% cashback credit cards. These cards typically come with no annual fee, so there's no cost to carrying them, and can be a great way to get simple value back without too much thought. Popular cards that come to mind in this category are the Citi Double Cash, the Wells Fargo Active Cash, the American Express Blue Business Cash or Blue Business Plus cards, the Sofi Mastercard, and the Fidelity Rewards Visa. All these cards either offer an unlimited 2% cashback multiplier, except for the American Express business cards, which are capped at $50,000 in spend per year, then 1% or 1x back on all other purchases thereafter. But I'd say one downside of these cards is that they all come with foreign transaction fees, so you wouldn't be able to get these elevated multipliers abroad unless you wanted to pay that fee. So if you're looking for a basic solid multiplier on all of your spend, then these cards work great. But with just a small amount of effort, you could do so much better. And the first card I want to cover as a great one card setup is everyone's favorite entry-level luxury travel credit card, the Capital One Venture X. This card is already popular as a catch-all card since you earn 2x miles back on all purchases, with the exception of travel booked on Capital One Travel, which gets you a higher multiplier. Now, the Venture X has come under fire recently for losing benefits, such as the nerfing of the $300 travel statement credit to just a $300 travel credit, as well as the upcoming loss of Hertz Present Circle status at the end of this year. There are also other travel perks, such as access to Capital One's premier collection of hotels, primary auto rental collision damage waiver, a $100 TSA PreCheck and global entry credit, and no foreign transaction fees. So the Capital One Venture X is a phenomenal option as a catch-all credit card and also offers premium travel benefits for a relatively reasonable annual fee. But the next card on this list is my new personal favorite card, and that's the US Bank Altitude Reserve card. Now, I've been using this card for about 6 months, and in my case, it truly does function as a one card setup. Even though this card only earns 1x points on all other purchases not covered by its higher multipliers, it's the 3x points back on mobile wallet purchases that really makes it a fantastic catch-all credit card. In today's world, almost every merchant has tap to pay, which includes mobile wallets, with notable exceptions being Walmart, many sit-down restaurants, and online shopping. So, except for those categories, you can basically earn 3x points back on all of your purchases as long as you do so on a mobile wallet. But because we're talking about the US Bank Altitude Reserve card, it gets even better. With this card, you can redeem your points using a process called real-time rewards, where you can earn 1.5x points back if these points are redeemed against travel purchases, which can take that 3x mobile wallet earnings up to a value of 4.5x points back. And what's nice about this redemption option is that these purchases can be done directly on the merchant's website, so there's no need to be limited to a travel portal to redeem your points for the best value. And for those of you who also want those premium travel perks, the Altitude Reserve card comes with 8 free visits to Priority Pass lounges and experiences, a $100 TSA PreCheck and Global Entry credit, and no foreign transaction fees. And even though this card has a $400 annual fee, it has one of the most flexible annual statement credits out there, which is a $325 travel and dining credit. So if you use a mobile wallet for most of your purchases like myself, this is a great card to use for a one-card setup with some additional travel perks sprinkled in there as well. The next card is another nice option for a one-card setup, and this is the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite credit card. Now, to be completely honest, this card, just with its base multipliers, kind of sucks, with 2x points back on travel and dining, and 1.5x points back on everything else. But if you're able to reach Platinum Honors in the Bank of America Preferred Rewards system, this card becomes one of the most powerful cards out there. This is because when you have at least $100,000 with Bank of America or invested with Merrill Lynch, this card gets a 75% rewards bonus, boosting the multiplier on this card to 3.5x points back on travel and dining, and 2.625x points back for everything else. Now, this card has a $550 annual fee, but this can be offset by a $300 annual Alien Incidental Statement credit and a $150 annual lifestyle credit, which covers streaming services, food delivery, fitness subscriptions, and rideshare services. Other important travel perks on this card include a complimentary Priority Pass membership, primary auto rental collision damage waiver, a $100 TSA PreCheck and Global Entry credit, and no foreign transaction fees. But if you don't want to deal with that $550 annual fee, another option is to consider the Bank of America Premium Rewards credit card, which has the same multiplier structure and a $100 incidental credit for only a $95 annual fee. Now, both of these cards don't have any transfer partners, so they act more like cashback cards, but the catch-all multipliers are the highest of any cards at the Platinum Honors level at 2.625x points back. And with the Premium Rewards Elite credit card, you also get a 1.25 cent per point redemption rate when redeeming air travel on the Bank of America travel portal. So this can boost your 2.625x earnings on that everything else category to 3.2x points back, which is very, very good. And for those travel and dining purchases, you can earn an even higher multiplier of 3.5x points back. So if these are categories that you spend a lot of money in, the Premium Rewards Elite credit card or the Premium Rewards card could be a great one-card setup for your situation. Okay, so we covered what I think would be the big three that fit quite nicely as a one-card setup, but there are other lesser-known, no annual fee cards that also work well for this purpose. And one of these cards is for those of you who want a simple one-card setup, but you find yourself doing a lot of online shopping, and this card is the PayPal Mastercard. The PayPal Mastercard is a no annual fee credit card that earns 3% cashback on PayPal purchases, as well as 2% cashback on all other purchases with no caps or restrictions. PayPal is widely accepted online, and a lot of vendors have PayPal integrated into their online checkout process too, so it's pretty easy to use this card for online shopping at the 3% level, which can really supercharge your earnings over just a standard 2% card. Sadly, this card does come with some downsides, including no welcome offer, as well as a 3% foreign transaction fee. Another lesser-known credit card that works great as a catch-all card is the Alliant Visa Signature Card, which is issued by the Alliant Credit Union. This card has no annual fee and no foreign transaction fees, and has an earnings multiplier of 2.5% cashback on the first $10,000 of qualifying eligible purchases each month, then 1.5% cashback after that, as long as you're in their Tier 1 rewards program. And to get there, you'll need to meet several requirements. The first is to open an Alliant high-rate checking account, opt in to receive e-statements, have at least one electronic deposit posted each calendar month, and maintain a balance of $1,000 or more each month. One other nice feature about this card is that even though it doesn't come with a welcome offer, you automatically get Tier 1 rewards for the first 100 days after card approval. So if you don't mind the hassle of having another checking account open in exchange for an elevated 2.5% catch-all multiplier, this is another nice option. The next two cards I want to mention are going to be cards that may not be the best cards to use as a one-card setup, but depending on how you use them, could work for your specific use case, and the first is going to be the Citi Premier card. This card has a $95 annual fee and earns 3x points back on air travel, hotel, at restaurants, at supermarkets, and at gas stations, as well as 1x points back on all their purchases. And even though this card only has a 1x multiplier for that catch-all category, if you primarily spend your money in these everyday categories such as at restaurants, at gas stations, and at supermarkets, you can definitely come out ahead. You also have the added bonus of having airfare and hotel at the 3x level, as well as a limited time offer for 10x points on hotels and car rentals booked through the Citi travel portal up until June 30th, 2024. And with these points, you can transfer them out to Citi's transfer partners, making this card a specialized option as a one-card setup. The next card I want to cover is the Hilton Surpass card, which works well if you redeem your Hilton points in the right way, and shout out to Rob who explained this to me in a comment in one of my other videos. The Hilton Surpass card has a $150 annual fee and earns 12x points back on Hilton, 6x points back at US restaurants, supermarkets, and gas stations, 4x points back on US online retail purchases, and 3x points back on everything else. Even though the base multiplier is 3x points back, it's important to know that Hilton points are not as valuable as other point currencies, so by using TPG's valuations of 0.6 cents per Hilton point, this comes out to an earning value of 1.8 cents per point, which is just shy of that 2 cents per point baseline. But if we look closely at the other multipliers, this card also gets 6x points back on 3 popular everyday categories also covered by the Citi Premier card, which are at restaurants, at supermarkets, and at gas stations. So if you're able to redeem your Hilton points for outsized value on a luxury property at say 1.2 or even 1.5 cents per point, this can elevate those points to make them even more valuable when considering both the earnings and the redemption part of things. And if the $150 annual fee seems a little steep, remember that this card also has a $50 quarterly statement credit for Hilton purchases, complimentary Hilton Gold status, and no foreign transaction fees. Another nice benefit on this card is to spend $15,000 on the card within a calendar year to earn a free night reward. So if this was your one card setup, getting to that amount in 1 year may be even easier than you think. But of course, this is only going to be helpful if you stay at Hilton properties. But aside from that limitation, this is another option for a unique one card setup if you happen to be a Hilton loyalist. So putting this all together, here are the best one-card credit card setups that we discussed and when you should consider each one. If you're a frequent traveler or want to have a single card setup with some pretty decent travel perks, the Capital Inventor X, US Bank Altitude Reserve, and Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite credit cards are great options. Each of these cards have their own pros and cons, but overall offer solid lounge access and other travel perks that will help make your travel experience that much better. I also want to point out that the US Bank Altitude Reserve card and the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite card both don't have any transfer partners and function more like cashback credit cards with luxury travel benefits. Now, if you don't travel as much, the PayPal Mastercard and the Alliant Rewards Visa Signature card both offer valuable multipliers on that catch-all category in a nice no annual fee package. But if you spend the majority of your money on specifically groceries, restaurants, and gas, the Citi Premier card may be another option to consider, especially because those points can be transferred out to Citi's transfer partners. And if you're a Hilton loyalist, the Hilton Surpass card also covers those everyday spending categories, and with a little bit of extra effort finding the right Hilton redemption, this is another fantastic specialty one card setup to be aware of. And so those are the 7 best credit cards out there that balance simplicity and value when thinking about one card setups. And to really figure out which card is best for you, it's critical to understand how you spend your money and to see how you can quickly and easily analyze your spending so you can figure out what the best one card setup is for you. Check out this video next.